Football fans far and wide, welcome to episode 8 of the Football v Football podcast. Excited to be on for another English Premier League episode. Today we're going to be discussing the top 20 English Premier League midfielders through game week 8, through the international break. So this is going to be, of course, most relevant to FPL, Fantasy Premier League. So I'm going to start by giving a little bit of my methodology here. So I'm going to repeat essentially almost exactly what I mentioned in the last podcast when I did the top 20 forwards, because the same to me are most valuable fantasy-wise in a midfielder. So the most valuable aspect and indicator of success in the midfielder is how closely they contribute to goals. It's not only the highest yielding point metric in fantasy, regardless of league format, but the most important factor in the actual football match. Therefore, the way these rankings are determined is by looking at how aggressive these forwards are and how often they have a go, but more accurately, how often they have a go accurately. A lot of accuracies there. The way this is calculated is by total shots on target. This gives us an indication of their confidence, which is a repeatable characteristic regardless who they play. It's also an indication of the green light their manager has given them to continually do so. Adding context to this metric is the percentage of the total shots they attempt that are on target. So in summation, the characteristics most indicative of scoring capability to me are confidence, aggressiveness, and accuracy. Shots attempted measure the first two, while shots on target measure all three. Now, one thing I'll address here is the notion that assists or key passes are more relevant given where midfielders are positioned on the field. In my opinion, if what you're doing is evaluating the player based on how often they put their trust in another player, then you're evaluating the wrong player. So this is perhaps more accurately described as a ranking of the 20 midfielders most likely to score the most goals this season based on their aggressiveness, efficiency, and precision. So let's get into the rankings and start at number 20. So at number 20, we have Joe Ayodele Aribo from Southampton. He has 4 shots on target, 6 shots attempted, so 67% of total shots attempted are on target, which is the same as the next guy on this list, but the next guy has better overall statistics. Just a quick note on Joe Aribo here. This is, I believe, his first season playing with Southampton, significant minutes, and I think he should be getting a lot more involved. I really like the way he plays, so I'll look for him to be more involved as the season goes on. So at number 20, Joe Aribo. So at number 19, here we have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg from Tottenham. He has 4 shots on target, 6 shots attempted, so 67% of shots attempted are on target. This is a guy also that over the years has kind of ebbed and flowed in Tottenham's midfield. Tottenham, of course, is a very, very strong team this year, but he's managed to remain in the rotation, and especially these past couple games has done really well. So at number 19, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. At number 18, we have Emiliano Buendia from Aston Villa. So Emiliano has 4 shots on target, 5 shots attempted. So 80% of shots attempted are on target. Most importantly, 67 of percent of the EPL's Emilianos are on Aston Villa, along with him and his goalie Emiliano Martinez. I thought it was 100%, but apparently there is one on Bournemouth that doesn't play. But going back to Emiliano Buendia here, or Buendia, he doesn't start all the games, and I'm not sure why, given this kind of efficiency. Um, to be honest, I think he should be playing a lot more. So I'll look for him to get more involved in the office, and I believe he should be starting more games and playing more minutes. So at number 18, Emiliano Buendia. So at number 17 here we have Josh De Silva from Brentford. Uh, so he has four shots on target and 4 shots attempted. So 100% of shots attempted are on target. This is an incredible amount of efficiency here. Um, I do believe, again, he's one of those guys that doesn't get a lot of playing time but should. So at number 17, Josh De Silva. At number 16 here, I know this is going to shock many people by how low he is, but at number 16, Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City. Okay, so he has 5 shots on target, 19 shots attempted. So 26% of shots attempted are on target. This is amongst the lowest efficiency percentages in the league, especially for such a highly touted player. I know this guy is more known for his incredible passing, his assists, and key passes, but when it comes to his shooting, it's staggering how inefficient he has been this year. So this is where he's going to fall in the rankings, and if he, um, you know, his reliance mostly has been on his teammates. He luckily has great teammates in Holland and Gundogan and Foden and Mahrez and players like that. However, when it comes to his efficiency with the shots he takes going on goal, he's been incredibly inaccurate this season. So that lands him at number 16, Kevin De Bruyne. At number 15, we have Tomas Soucek from West Ham United. Tomas has 5 shots on target, 11 shots attempted, so 45% of shots attempted are on target. He's the first of 4 players with these same statistics, but they'll continue to ascend based on total points. Soucek is part of a West Ham team that's been kind of underperforming this year, given their pedigree and how well they were doing in the past couple years in the Premier League. But he's no doubt, with his size, a definite threat in the West Ham midfield, and I think he'll continue to get a lot of shots on target. So at number 15, Thomas Soucek. Coming in at number 14, we have Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United. So he, again, also has 5 shots on target, 11 shots attempted. So 45% of shots attempted are on target. He's also been a part of a team that was struggling in the beginning of the season, but is continuing to gain momentum now. He has many great pieces around him that are going to attract attention. They recently added Anthony, so I believe he'll continue to get better as the season goes on. So at number 14, Bruno Fernandes. At number 13, we have one of my, he's increasingly becoming a favorite player of mine, Alexis Mac Allister. Not McAllister, Mac Allister from Brighton and Hove Albion. He has 5 shots on target, 11 shots attempted, so 45% of shots attempted are on target. He is also the penalty taker for Brighton and Hove Albion. So that gives him many more chances to score. That's something that you always want to look for when you're playing Fantasy Premier League, is a penalty taker. Now, how the loss of their manager and bringing in a new manager is going to affect this team is anyone's guess. However, if things stay the same, Alexis McAllister will continue to be a very valuable midfielder. So at number 13, Alexis McAllister. So at number 12, we have Joelinton from Newcastle United. He has 5 shots on target, 11 shots attempted, so 45% of shots attempted are on target. He is part of, again, an increasingly improving midfield and offense with Newcastle United. He has a very stable role, I believe, in this offense. And he's a very aggressive player on the field, and he also contributes to many other statistics, which is why he is the top of the 4 players with these 5 shots on target, 11 shots attempted. So at number 12, Joelinton. So at number 10, we have another Manchester City player, Phil Foden. So he has 5 shots on target, 10 shots attempted, so 50% of shots attempted are on target. This is another player that's part of Pep Guardiola's rotation. Um, he's a player that you don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but when he gets in there, he is extremely effective, and he's an extremely talented player. So if he gets more playing time, he is going to continue to ascend. So Phil Foden at number 11. At number 10, we have Pascal Gross from Brighton and Hove Albion. So Pascal has 5 shots on target, 9 shots attempted, so 56% of shots attempted are on target. He is another guy, as I mentioned before with Alexis, that was a very key part of the offense under manager Graham Potter, and it remains to be seen how his role might change under a new manager. However, I believe this guy has been great over the years. It's just, again, a matter of how much playing time he's going to get. Some of these, rotations in the English Premier League are very different than many other sports, especially if you follow a lot of sports in America. They're a lot more predictable. Um, Pascal Gross has had an amazing start to the season, far exceeding some of his goal totals from entire other seasons. So it's a matter of him staying involved, and if he continues to play as aggressively as he has, then Pascal Gross will continue to ascend on this midfielder list. But for now, number 10, Pascal Gross. At number 9, we have Demarai Gray from Everton. So Demarai has 6 shots on target, 15 shots attempted, so 40% of shots attempted are on target. This is a guy that plays both midfield and forward. He's a very versatile player, very aggressive player, very attacking player. 15 shots attempted is definitely shows that. I think Everton is an underperforming team at the moment. I think that they have a ton of potential, but sometimes there's a lot of talk about the head coach of this team, Steven Gerrard, and whether he'll continue to be a coach of this team, and whether he's well suited to be a coach, or there's another manager that can unlock the potential of this team. So, but for now, you'll see later in this list there is another Everton player that has showed a lot of promise, and Everton is one of those teams that will do a lot better than they're showing now. It's just a matter of numbers games. So it's a numbers game essentially. So at number 9, Demarai Gray. So at number 8 we have Brian Mbeumo from Brentford. Brian has 6 shots on target, 14 shots attempted, so 43% of shots attempted are on target. Him along with Ivan Toney in the main attackers of Brentford are continue to surprise the Premier League. They're great attacking players, and I think they'll continue to do well given their aggression. So at number 8, Brian Embuemo. At number 7, we have Martin Odegaard from Arsenal. Martin has 6 shots on target, 13 shots attempted, so 46% of shots attempted are on target. He's a part of a fledgling Arsenal team that has continued to do well with the arrival of Jesus on this team. They've finally realized some of their potential, and especially I think with Fabio Vieira entering the lineup, I think that will continue to open up things for everyone, and I think everyone in this office will continue to do well. So at number 7, Martin Odegaard. At number 6, we have a guy that I think has been pretty inspirational given what happened to him on the pitch, I think last year. Um, Christian Eriksen from Manchester United. He has 6 shots on target, 12 shots attempted, so 50% of shots attempted are on target. He is also involved in a lot of the set pieces now, taking it from which is the previous role of Bruno Fernandes, who is further down this list, and I think that kind of explains why. Manchester United, again, as mentioned, they're a team that underperformed earlier, but is continuing to gel and play Ten Hag football, and will continue, I think, to improve as the season goes on. So at number 6, we have Christian Eriksen. At number 5, we have Alan St. Maximin from Newcastle United. So Alan has 6 shots on target, 12 shots attempted. So 50% of shots attempted are on target. These are the same statistics as Eriksen, but Alan is better with overall points. He is definitely the most aggressive or the more aggressive player. If you watch any Newcastle United games, you see he's all over the pitch. He's making runs. He's very elusive, and I think he'll continue to see success as the season goes on. So number 5, Alan St. Maximin. At number 5, we have James Maddison from Leicester City. So Maddison has 7 shots on target, 20 shots attempted, so 35% of shots attempted are on target. 20 shots attempted gives you an idea of how aggressive this player is, and I think he had a slow start to the season, but he's continuing to improve as the season goes on. Leicester City has been an underperforming team that hasn't incorporated a lot of new players in a lot of these transfer windows. However, James Maddison, along with some of the forwards, I think James Vardy is still good. Iheanacho is still good. I think they open up a lot of space. Patson Daka as well. And James Maddison continues to be a very, very aggressive, attack-minded player. His issue sometimes is injuries. I think his build is a little bit slight, but there is no question about how aggressive this player is with 20 shots on target here. So at number 4, James Maddison. At number 3 here, we have, again, one of my favorites from one of my favorite teams this year to watch play, Solly March from Brighton and Hove Albion. He has 8 shots on target, 17 shots attempted, so 47% of shots attempted are on target. Great attack-minded player. You hear his name a ton if you watch any Brighton games. I'll echo the same thing I said about McAllister and Gross. You don't know what's going to happen now that they're going to have a new manager. They may have different rotations now. However, if the new manager knows what he's doing and is smart, he'll continue to run the same type of offense that was employed by Graham Potter. So at number 3, Solly March. Number 2, we have Gabriel Martinelli from Arsenal. You might recognize him from the forwards list as well, and he plays both. So he has 9 shots on target, 21 shots attempted. So 43% of shots attempted are on target. This is a guy that, to me at least, when I watch some Arsenal games, he kind of flies under the radar for many parts of the game, but then he'll all of a sudden explode with great shots on target. And I think he is bound to score many goals this season, especially because he kind of flies under the radar and then sneak attacks. So this guy is a great player. He's kind of come out of nowhere to me, to be honest with you. But at number 2, Gabriel Martinelli. And at number 1 here, again, you'll recognize him if you watch the top 20 forwards list, Anthony Gordon from Everton. He has 13 shots on target, 18 shots attempted, so 72% of shots attempted are on target. This guy is an immense player that is finally getting playing time this year, and given an opportunity, he's finally shining. He has been tied, as previously mentioned, to transfers to Chelsea and many other teams. Um, Everton, if they've come out and said that they don't want to trade him, so if they manage to hold on to this player, they can do really well. As I mentioned before, Everton has a ton of good players. They seem to be limited by their manager. So if there's any kind of shakeup in the with the executives to bring in a new manager, I think that will unlock this team and unlock Anthony Gordon at number 1. So to recap here, the top 20 EPL midfielders: at 20, Joe Ayodele Aribo; 19, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg; 18, Emiliano Buendia; 17, Pelinda Joshua da Silva; 16, Kevin De Bruyne; 15, Thomas Soucek; 14, Bruno Fernandes; 13, Alexis McAllister; 12, Joelinton; 11, Phil Foden; 10, Pascal Gross; 9, Damari Gray; 8, Brian Mbeumo; 7, Martin Odegaard; 6, Christian Eriksen; 5, Alan St. Maximin; 4, James Maddison; 3, Solly March; 2, Gabriel Martinelli; and number 1, we have Anthony Gordon. So thanks everyone for tuning in to this 8th episode of the Football v Football podcast. I hope this was informative for you. I hope to have more rankings. Actually, look out for the top 20 EPL defenders that will be coming up as well during this international break. And I hope to produce more English football videos as the season goes on. And then also when the World Cup begins and other regional tournaments begin, I hope to include those as well. You can follow me on social media, on Instagram at football_v_football, on Twitter at fballvfball. Also, this podcast can be viewed and listened to on YouTube at the Football v Football podcast, as well as Spotify and Anchor at the Football v Football podcast. And if you'd like to support this podcast, we'd be very grateful on Ko-fi. The website there is ko-fi.com/football v football. So thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the international break from English Premier League, and we'll see you in the next episode, and have a fantastic day, football fans.